All right, good evening and welcome to the Milford School Committee meeting. Today is October 23rd, 2025. This meeting is being broadcast and recorded by Milford TV, and any copies can be obtained at the request of this board or through central office. We're starting tonight with the recognition of the Louis Bertinazi Outstanding Teacher of the Year nominees and recipient. Please. Hello, good to see you again.
Good evening. Thank you for having us here this evening. So this has been a little bit of a difficult year for my family with the passing of my dad, but this was truly a special award for him. And so I know he'd be quite pleased to know that we're gathered here this evening to honor and recognize the outstanding teachers in the Milford school system. So for those of you who are not familiar with our award, we've been making it since around 1992, and we present it annually to an outstanding teacher in the Milford school system. Nominations are made by each building through their respective school council. We encourage members of the staff, students, members of the community at large to participate in this nomination process. The winner is ultimately chosen by a selection committee that is comprised entirely of members of our community at large. The composition of this board is determined by our board of directors and changes annually. So this is truly a community award. We are incredibly grateful and will continue to be incredibly grateful to the members of the Milford School Committee and the Milford School community for the manner in which you have supported and assisted us in this whole process, and really for the manner in which everybody has embraced the award. We really couldn't do this without all of your help. I am not the public speaker that my father was, and the benefit, of course, to all of you is that I will always be brief, all right? So with that said, I am going to move on to introducing you all to our nominees, all right? Now, I did want to say, though, although we do select a winner, all of these nominees are winners. I reviewed the packets, and these are really outstanding teachers, and I'm so happy that we are able to recognize their many outstanding contributions to the education of the children in this town. I can't see anymore, so bear with me for 1 second. All right, so our nominees are Renee Walczyk of Shining Star. I believe everybody's here with us today, right? Gelsamina Gambardella of Brookside, and I'm hoping I'm not butchering the names. That was okay?
Yes.
Hilda Johnson from Memorial School. Nelda Arroyo from Stacy Middle School.
She was sick today.
She was sick today. And Caitlin Small from MHS. And this year's, actually last year's, winner of the Senator Louis P. Bertinazi Foundation Outstanding Teacher Award is Emily Switzer of Woodland Elementary School. So I don't know whether Emily wants to utter a couple of utterances. If not, we'll turn everything over to you guys.
Excellent.
If I could say one thing, David, I know that speaking for the school community, we're very appreciative of the foundation for recognizing teachers. I think in all the years that I've been in Milford Public Schools, this is one of the things that I look forward to at the start of the year, to see all the different nominees. This year's teachers are just an outstanding group of teachers. I think the other thing that is important to note is that each school council nominates a number, or each school nominates a number of teachers, and then the school councils choose one from the school. So I don't know what the exact number is, but I'm guessing we're somewhere in the 20s of teachers that were nominated this year, and then the school councils choose the one from each school. But it really truly is, it's an honor. It's really one of the things I think that not only I'm looking forward to, but many staff members look forward to at the start of the year. So I want to say we're grateful for you, and I also want to say congratulations to all of our nominees and winners.
Thank you.
Why is everyone looking at me?
Just look down. I don't know if anybody wanted to say anything. No?
Any comments or anything from the committee members?
I'll go first, man.
Thank you, Christopher.
Congratulations, everybody. We really appreciate your, all the hard work day to day. We know your job's not easy. We know what on the other side of the table, sometimes us parents aren't always easy. But no, we really appreciate working with our children, working with parents and families throughout our district. So again, congratulations and thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'll just say congratulations and thank you as well. I did have the privilege of sitting on the selection committee back in 2014, and it was a very rewarding experience. We had, again, 7 great nominees then, and, we're just lucky to have teachers like you in our district.
Yeah, congratulations. Just like echoing what everyone said, also, I just appreciate that this award exists in the first place. So this gives everyone an opportunity to really think about our community as a whole and then recognize all the hard work that you do on a day-to-day basis. So really appreciate you and your family and all of you and your families and for making the world a better place.
Yeah, I agree. Have kids in the school system, they had a great experience, and it's all because of the hard work of the teachers. You guys are really putting everything into them, and I'm glad to see you guys getting honored, so thank you.
Thank you, David, to you and your family and the foundation. It is an honor to be able to recognize people that work so hard day in and day out, so thank you for that. While we appreciate the brevity, we certainly miss your dad, so there's that. I would love to hear just from each of you, one thing that you love about working in the Milford Public Schools or our school community, because we spend so many hours in this room, and truly, the best part of that is seeing you all and seeing students, and we don't get a lot of opportunity to do that, so you spend day in and day out giving your heart and soul to our children. I'd just like to hear what you enjoy about it, if you'd be willing to share.
Sure. I love teaching all the kiddos, but I love the most when I see them outside of the classroom, and whether it's their 5th graders, because I teach 4th grade, or if I see them, I just saw 2 students here with their families at the Monster Mash, I think it is.
I love it.
And it was just so great because they were so happy to tell me about it. So it's yes, I love to teach them so they can learn, but I also love to hear about their lives and your lives and that sense of community. And I'm not from Milford, but I feel like I am part of Milford just because of your kiddos. So thank you for sharing them with us, because that makes my day.
I love that. Thank you.
I just love being a part of this community. I was on the receiving end of this community and the teaching staff for a long time. I graduated from Milford High as well, and to now get to be a part of the faculty that made me who I am, and now I get to give back to the community and work with students that might be my colleagues one day is a lot of fun.
I love when the kids come in the morning and I get to hear about, things that they did and stories that they share with me.
I bet you have some good. You could probably write a book about that. I'm just gonna guess. I don't know.
I love the diversity of Milford. I love celebrating their differences and what makes every kid unique. And especially in my classroom, I just love seeing them grow, especially from when they come to where they leave. Special.
I think for me, it's the families that I work with. So most of my students are nonverbal, so it's really meaningful getting to work with my families on such a different level than I think a lot of other teachers get to. So they're what motivates me every day, and it's wonderful. So
awesome. Thank you for being willing to share. I really appreciate it. Thanks, man.
Thank you.
And I'll just keep it short. I know everybody else said pretty much everything there is, but thank you for everything you do every day. We have wonderful teachers in this town, and you guys are a great representation of that, so thank you.
All right, I have to get a picture, so you have to get in and Attorney Bertozzi back there. I'll stand in the middle here.
Should you be in the picture?
They don't want me.
think that's part of your job.
I'm not the photographer anymore.
No, you're
Yeah, I
not,
think you
actually.
downgraded. That's actually a good
Alright.
point. You got it, Chris?
Chris
Okay.
has it.
Chris has got it.
That's also what I think they want us in front of you little hawkhead hams.
You tried to sneak out of that.
Yeah, I know, right? No fail.
I don't blame him.
Yep, yep.
We're gonna go on that
Just wanted to make
end.
sure.
Thank
but, like,
Closer. All right.
Thank you. Thank you.
Congratulations, everybody.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, get
I
some
don't like
sleep.
touchpads. I'm just, yeah.
Thank you.
Now you got it too.
What's wrong with this side of the table?
We're still on air.
All right.
So we will move on to invitation to speak. I don't see anyone here for that, so we can move past that to announcements, correspondence, and distribution. Does anybody have anything for that?
Just in the announcement front, Matt, I would just say thank you to town meeting for supporting all the initiatives that we needed to bring forward. Appreciate everyone coming out for the night and certainly supporting all the work that we need to have done.
Absolutely. Thank you for that.
Thank you, Meg. Thank you.
All right. We'll skip over the general chairperson update. There is nothing new on the MSBA project front, so we can pass over that, which will bring us to the Eagle Scout proposal that's going to be given by Aiden Bushell. Hope I got that right.
Just let me, can I start with one thing?
Yes, please.
Aiden reached out to me. He's a student in our district. He participates in theater. And he had reached out to me about a proposal for, well, he had a number of different maybe proposals. I won't steal your thunder, I promise. And it was a pleasure meeting with him. I spent a little bit of time with him and his family in on the stage. I'll leave it at that. And then also with Miss Pomeroy. And I think this is a very worthy project, and I'm very excited to see what Aiden does. So, Aiden, you can describe your project, please.
So my project would be there is a, on the stage in the high school, there is a concert grand piano that I have noticed is a little bit, I wouldn't say worse for wear, but it needs a little bit of TLC. I have a proposal here, if you'd like to pass it around. There's that details everything that we could do to the piano to restore its musicality and help it be a great musical instrument for any future performances or concerts or anything that would be held in the auditorium. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Can I ask you 2 questions, Aiden?
Of course.
Where did you get this idea?
I don't exactly remember when, but I was in the theater. We were doing our rehearsals, and I saw the piano. It was just sitting there at the back. And I was like, I looked at it, and it looked like it hadn't been moved in a while, let's just say. And I don't think I've seen, personally, that big of a piano, like, in person, so I was surprised to find one at all.
Mm-hmm.
And when I asked about it, I was told that it, like, I don't exactly remember. It's been a while, but I looked at it. I was like, that could be a great thing. So I looked into if it was like, I mean, if it had just been redone, wouldn't exactly need to do it again. But if it looked like it looked like it kind of needed it.
Great. And I'm curious, do you play the piano?
A little bit.
Excellent. Maybe I'll have to play more once you
Yeah.
refurbish. This is
Not
a
as
great
much
idea.
as I could,
Excellent.
but I do kind of.
Thanks for bringing this to us.
This is great for now and for the future. This is can't wait to see who's gonna jump on it and start playing.
Yeah, Aiden, great to meet you. Thank you for bringing this forward to us. I think this is a great initiative. I have a couple questions for you as well. Do you have an idea of what the cost is for the renovation or restoration?
We would have to do a analysis of the entire thing, but all the entire cost of the project would be, I would fundraise the entire thing.
Yep.
As an Eagle project, and it would bring no cost to the school board or the schools.
Yeah, and I was just curious because like this is aired live, and we can certainly support to our network. How would we be able to donate funds to your project if someone in the community wanted to? Do you have a way to set that up yet, or are you still working on that?
Not quite yet. After the proposal is done, that's when the fundraising efforts would start.
Okay.
But I will definitely find some way to get it out to the community that
Yeah.
this project is happening and when money
Yeah.
and how money can be shared.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And I'm
Looking
sure.
forward to it.
Yeah, and I'm sure there's going to be plenty of resources at the school that's going to help point in the right direction, such as the Milford Cultural Council. I know they do grants all the time. There's other community groups as well that also would be willing to donate, so certainly reach out to them. And then my last question, what do you enjoy most about scouting?
Honestly,
Or an experience that you could reflect on?
honestly, it's just like the experiences that we get through scouting, through all the campouts and the service projects. Everything basically adds to everything else, and they're all wonderful experiences that make it just very enriching.
Nice.
Totally. Yeah, I agree. Good luck.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Matt, Aiden, I apologize. I wanted to start with this. I just want to say congratulations for making it this far, because I
Oh.
know many
Yeah.
years and hours have gone into be able to
Yes.
bring this to us. So I just want to say congratulations, and we look forward to seeing the finished product.
Thank you.
Sorry, Matt.
Thank you very much for being here to present. Really appreciate it. As you're hearing, to get this far in the process through Scouts and staying with it, and all the steps to get to this point is a great accomplishment. And this is kind of that last big step from what I understand. So I think this is a great proposal that you've put together. I look forward to hearing about some updates. As Mr. Richter had said, from the fundraising side of it, as you kind of set up a pathway and he kind of gave you some resources, if one of those resources is coming back here for another proposal where you can, kind of be on TV for it, be happy to have you as a guest here. But continue on with this effort, and anything that we can do to help support you, let us know.
Right. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, I'd echo what everybody else said, and I just add that I love the idea of restoring something, and something so substantial as this instrument, if that's what if it's even called. It's more like a fixture or a piece of furniture or whatever it is. But I love the idea of restoring something. We've had a lot of great new building projects from Scouts over the years in town, but I really like the idea of the restoration of something that's so significant.
Fantastic. Any other comments or questions?
I'll just layer in one more thing, Matt. So
Go
my
ahead.
husband is many, many decades older than you, Aiden, and being an Eagle Scout still comes up in his conversation. So he's very proud to have achieved that. So it'll be something that'll impact you for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
So although it'll be a big effort, it'll definitely be worth it.
Definitely.
All right. Well, thank you for your presentation. I agree with what everybody said. Obviously, in a world where we tend to run to replace things with new, I love that you're restoring something. Do you know how old it is currently? Is that information you guys have yet or not yet?
I believe we looked at the serial number. Do you remember? Do you remember?
It was over 100.
It's definitely over 100 years old.
That is amazing.
That makes restoring something
That's
like
awesome.
that
I guess-
even more meaningful.
This-
That's wild.
I had the pleasure of watching Aiden and his mom and dad going through the piano preliminarily, and the excitement that they had, just going through it and looking at, I don't know what any of this stuff is called, but the strings and then the hammers.
You know what the keys are, right?
Yeah, we couldn't get into keys
Good look
because what was it?
The
The
thingamajigs.
fallboard block was broken.
Didn't know what that was.
So it was awesome, and I know it's in good hands. So I'm also excited about the project and just seeing what they come back with. So awesome. It's a good project.
Thank you for coming.
Yes.
I know we're all excited to see how this goes, but good luck with it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Aiden.
Thank you.
If I could add just one thing, just
Please.
'cause you might not know in terms of the fundraising, so in an Eagle project,
Yep.
all the funds
Yep.
do have to go through the troop,
Mhm.
but the school system or whoever the owner of the piano is the beneficiary.
Mhm.
So none of the resources or funds remain with the troop, but all fundraising, if there's any fundraising out there, anyone who wants to donate to the project can write a check to Troop 4. This is, he's a part of Troop 4 here
Okay.
in Milford.
Okay. Perfect.
So.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you for that. All right, thanks for coming. All right. All right. Policy. We'll go to the policy review. There are 3 listed on the agenda. I'm going to look at you guys. Are there 3 that we're ready to move forward with tonight?
So there's
Yes?
actually a 4th one that's not listed. Are we allowed to vote on it?
No, we'll save that one for the next meeting.
Perfect. That's fine.
So we have, I'll list out the 3 and we can take them one at a time. The first one is file JF-1, middle school pathway exploration policy.
Yep.
And then there's file EBC emergency plans and file EEAA walkers/riders. Let's start with the middle school pathway exploration policy. We'll discuss that first.
Yeah, absolutely. So tonight we met as the policy subcommittee and discussed this. So this is actually stemming from Massachusetts State Regulation 603 CMR 4. So this is a compliance issue. And what it does, it allows for a more clear pathway for our middle school students to explore our VOTEC options, our CTE programming. So this is giving information to both the students and the parents as to what those options are. So there's in-district options at Milford High School, as well as our regional VOTEC school, which is Blackstone Valley. What has changed this year, and I think Dr. Consigli can certainly clean this up for me a little bit, there's a new process for applications to get into BVT. So it's more of a lottery-based system, and you can earn points along the way to increase your chances of getting in. So one of them is simply applying. Another one is doing a school tour. So in the past, this has been an option available to our students that they could do a school tour, but our district really, and most of the districts have not participated in this because there's been just questions around it. But Dr. Consigli is recommending this policy, and we approved this policy on the subcommittee to do these school tours as it counts for one of those tokens as an extra lottery ticket, if you will. And this is actually sponsored from Blackstone Valley. They have to provide the transportation. It's during school hours and does not count as an unexcused absence. So that is one of the criteria as well. So this policy is reflecting the changes of the admission process and also how we are identifying these changes to the stakeholders in the district. Dr. Consigli, did I get that?
Yeah.
Right.
Yes. Basically, the policy was put in place over the summer. We need to have the rules and regulations from DESE was put in place over the summer. We have to have a policy in place by November 1st, just on how we're going to explain to our middle school students what their options are with, for us it's Blackstone Valley Tech. We do send a number of students over to other CTE schools, but those aren't necessarily in our catchment, right? BVT is the only one that's in our catchment. The other schools that we send kids to are, we tuition kids over there, so we don't have to put it in the policy. But basically what we're doing is outlining how we let kids know about what BVT has to offer. That's basically what this policy is. The other thing, I think the other thing that point out is the career exploration piece of it for middle school students. DESE is requiring, starting in 2027, this MyCap program, which basically says that all students have to use this MyCap. It's really, I think, a guidance tool to help kids figure out as early as 7th grade where they want to go with their career. So it talks about all these different things, and this is something that they would have to go through with an adult alongside of them, just so they can understand better which high school options would be best for their post-secondary planning. So we need this policy in place for November 1st so we can upload it onto DESE and I guess check the box for our compliance on this regulation.
All right. Any discussion on that?
Can I just ask two quick questions? Other than the tour sort of like communicating that, there's no real process change happening, I wouldn't think.
Not really. I think it's just documenting for us how we let families know about BBT and our own CTE
Well, and that's
program.
where I was gonna go, because
Yeah.
I felt like when we did the California trip, a lot of the discussion was around like pathways at Milford and
Yeah.
how we're gonna enhance those. So is that also a piece of this?
Yeah,
I think
so-
that's super important.
It is, and,
Okay.
and it's right in here that we talk about two things, right? We talk about our own CTE programming, and we also provide the information about what's offered at BBT.
Okay. Thanks. Thanks, Matt.
Anything else?
Just quickly, so currently we're not doing MyCap. This is just
No.
something that's coming down the
Oh, well,
pipeline and,
we're not currently doing it in middle school.
okay.
It's mostly a high school thing right now. It's
Right.
gonna get pushed down into middle school,
Okay.
where I think it belongs,
Okay.
honestly. Or at least the start of it belongs in middle school,
I would
certainly.
agree with that. I think that's an excellent way to kind of focus on. Don't wait until you're already there.
Right.
Trying to figure this out.
Right.
It should be part of pre-planning like everything else.
Right.
You know what I mean?
A motion to approve file JF1.
All right, so discussion is over, and we have a motion to approve file JF1. Is there a second? Second by Megan. All in favor? It's unanimous, thank you.
Great, thank you.
We'll move on to file EBC emergency plans.
Yep. So again, we just went through this briefly 2 meetings ago, but there's a couple of questions when we asked for additional feedback from the director of nursing as well as the district response team. So they did review this document and made 2 minor edits. Being a little bit more general with using the word administration as opposed to specifically like the athletic director, for example. And then the fire department put in state mandated fire drills just to be compliant with whatever the new state mandate is. So currently it's 4, but next year it could turn to 5. So instead of switching it, just to be a little bit more broad. And then number 8 was also something that was brought to our attention to add a method to transport students to an alternative location. So those are the big changes, and they're not very big at all.
Cool. Any discussion on that one?
No.
All right. Is there a motion to approve file EBC emergency plans?
So moved.
Motion by Chris. Second by John. All in favor? Unanimous. Thank you. And we'll go on to file EEAA walkers/riders.
Yep, so this one also got kicked back from a previous meeting, so we were able to vote on it tonight. We added 2 new sections, or I guess modified. I guess added, right? Yeah, added 2 new sections of I and J, just to more define this policy, including what is considered school property and when that rule kind of applies. So that was a question that was asked previously. This obviously does not address any of the e-bike discussion that we've previously had. I think that needs a lot more thought and community input. I should not say just me personally, but we felt like that was, as a subcommittee, felt like that needed more input. So that might be added to this, or it's different policy in general, but this is what we discussed and approved tonight.
Okay. Any other discussions on this?
Just commentary, Mike, can we just spell out IEP when we publish the policy?
Yes.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah.
In section
It's in
F.
F.
Yep.
Please, thank you.
Excellent. Anything else?
I'll make a motion to approve with that.
Okay. Motion by Megan to approve file EEAA walkers/riders with 1 edit to section F spelling out IEP. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Chris. All in favor? Unanimous. Thank you.
Thank you.
We will move on to the report of the Assistant Superintendent for Teaching and Learning.
Great. So last week we talked about accountability data on MCAS. I shared a little bit about what we are doing with the math results. And tonight we're going to hear from Carol Saversky about the literacy results and kind of where we are in literacy this year. So Carol, I'm going to maybe share my screen for you.
All right. Thanks for having me tonight, everyone.
Thank you.
Hopefully my computer doesn't die. Seems to be the perfect timing. Okay. So Carrie shared some of the data with you last week. Tonight I'm going to talk about MCAS data, but I think what I really want to get everyone up to speed on is how the implementation of K-5 expeditionary learning is going, share some glows and grows, and talk about year 2 of high quality instructional materials at Stacy, early literacy. So we got a lot of stuff on the agenda tonight. So Carrie did share last week the accountability data, and we did see that we are making strides. In our lowest performing students, we have increased by, so we're 4 out of 4. We are looking at an overall 1 out of 4 points in the accountability for ELA, which is no change. We do see some declines across the board, similarly in math as we do in ELA. And so I want to next just look at the overall MPS ELA MCAS. So for this year, we have 31% of students meeting or exceeding. 486 is the scaled score, and the SGP is 49.1. In the graph, all the way on the left is the SGP over time. So we're kind of compared to the state. We are pretty close to where we were in 2024. We made some gains in 2024. Overall, we were 29%, and our SGP was 49.6. So we're kind of staying steady in those areas. For Woodland, we have 31% meeting or exceeding. We can see we are above the state. We're increasing steadily there. We are up from 26% in 2024, and our average SGP in 2024 was 61. So again, we're making gains there. And at Stacy, this is reflective. We were in year 1 of the adoption of Amplify ELA. So we're at 27% meeting or exceeding, which is exactly the same as it was in 2024. Our SGP in 2024 was 40.7, so we had a slight decline. And I think that goes back to, the implementation. We're still getting used to it. We're still making adjustments. And grade 10 ELA MCAS, we have 42% of students meeting or exceeding. That is a slight decline. We are down from 48% in 2024. The SGP in 2024 was 53.5, and now it's 51.1. We have a slight decline there. So we are making gains. We have some areas that we have room for improvement, specifically with our students with disabilities and IEPs, and our multilingual learners, and our high needs students. So we're looking at the adoption of HQIM as a lever of equity to provide all students with grade level content. So we're making sure they're equipped to handle it in all the different ways. So I invite you to ask any questions.
Thanks, Carol. This is super helpful, and I know there's so much going on, so I won't spend too much time on this. Could you just speak, though, at a high level? Obviously, this is very high level data, which is very appropriate for us to be reviewing.
Yeah.
Could you just speak to how you and the coaches and the leads sort of really dig in terms of is there a problem area or content? Just how do you take this and then sort of make it tangible in terms of how we execute?
Yeah, so on a deeper analysis, we'll look at the different strands that MCAS is measuring, like the language strands, the reading strands, the essay, and the writing. And we'll use that to guide where we need to focus support in teachers and students. We see that overall, the essay and the writing piece is an area that lends itself to a deeper focus and room for growth. And I think that's where we're going to see along the vertical spine some consistency with writing instruction, making sure we're hitting the standards, so we can use that overall, like that micro level data to help support our teachers.
And are you able to overlay iReady and say like, okay, this is something that really stands out? Obviously, there's, improvement that you're looking to make everywhere. I totally understand
Yeah.
that, but does that ever give indicators?
It does,
pockets?
especially with the distinction between reading, the literature strands and the reading informational text. Typically, students reading informational text is more challenging, so we can cross-reference the iReady data. iReady also has a new feature that's called their projected proficiency, where they can anticipate proficiency on state assessments based on iReady scores. The only thing we really can't cross-reference is writing. And so that's an area where, like, we previously haven't had up unless the high school, we got writing locked in at the high school.
Sure.
We haven't had a lot of common writing assessments that have allowed us to norm on student writing and calibrate.
Got it. Okay. Thank you.
Mhm.
Thank you for presenting tonight. Appreciate it. Obviously, when you look at this, the numbers don't look great, right? I mean, we're not even at 50% meeting. But I know this is we're now focusing on this because
Yeah.
we've seen these numbers. I think I'm trying to remember when you presented with math, and we kind of looked at almost like individual students and are they making progress, and do we do that? So right now this is very general, but is there a way to extrapolate out data that shows, like, a student that they're not meeting the expectations, but they're still making gains, right? They're making gains. They're not into that next category of meeting those expectations, but we see that growth there. Is there a way, so that way we kind of can tell that what we're putting forth is working, right? Eventually we hope to see that gray area become the blue area, but there's still going to be some within that gray area of not meeting that are slowly approaching the blue,
Yeah.
but at least they are approaching the blue.
Yeah, so we can look at student level data, and look at student growth, what growth percentage they're making. So even if they're not meeting or exceeding, we're keeping a close watch on the progress they're making. iReady also allows us to look at that data, and it gives us each student a typical growth score and a stretch growth score to make sure we're on the path to proficiency.
We can also look at, like, SGP is the first number that we would expect to increase before we see proficiency rates increase, right? To be honest, I don't think grade 10 is a good example. So if we look at Stacy, for example,
Yes.
if you look at the SGP graph here that we have on the left, we're seeing actually a dip in SGP, which, although we're staying flat on proficiency, the kids are not as high in their SGP as we would want them to be, right? We really want SGP on MCAS to be between 40 and 60 for typical growth.
Okay.
We're seeing a dip at 38.2. It's year one of implementation. Is
Right.
that
Yep.
what's going on here? If we continue to see a dip in SGP like this spring, we've got a bigger problem. But we were, Craig and I were at an Urban Superintendents Network meeting a couple of weeks ago, and we heard, this is only true about grade 10 MCAS, but we heard, like, across the state, they were seeing 3 times the amount of essay topics off topic on the grade 10 MCAS by removing the CD requirement. So I think that's why I'm saying I don't really want to talk about this one right now, because I'm wondering how many essays were graded off topic, but across the state we're seeing 3 times the amount previous years. Not true at the 3.8 level, which is why this number of an SGP dropping is a little bit more concerning.
and this is similar, again, year one of adoption, and you had gone over that, and I asked that question from math, right? I think 1 and 2, and then 3 starts rising up. I'm assuming that this is what we anticipate to be similar in from the aspects of it, the students are now learning differently, the teachers are teaching differently.
Right.
But also, I mean, I haven't done a huge analysis here, right? But like, there is some things to celebrate. If you look at the red here in SY24, Stacy was at 33%. Well, after year one of implementation, we're at 31% in the red, right? So kids that were not meeting expectations shrunk by 2 percentage points. Although our students meeting expectations stayed the same, you did close that red gap or that not meeting expectations gap a little bit, which is something to celebrate and to think about.
But I think a good example is Woodland, right? For the question you asked, if you look at the column on the left there, that's growth, right?
Right.
Where the blue, the state is the gray. You can see that's something that we definitely should celebrate, right? Our growth score is going on an upward trajectory as compared to the state, right? And it bears out if you look at the right side and you look at the, not the growth scores, but the, what is it, the percentage of proficiency? Is that what that is? You can see that starting to increase and starting to go the right way. And it is mirroring what we're seeing in the growth scores, right? And that's with a inconsistent program throughout Woodland, right? So materials that were in kids' hands that weren't exactly the same, or we had no control over, I guess, all the way through each grade level. We're anticipating perhaps there's a drop, but perhaps we continue to see the increase with high quality instructional materials in teachers and students' hands. I think the implementation dip is real, and it's real because teachers are getting used to the materials and getting used to the program. But the fact of the matter is, the teachers are demonstrating here. I think that their high expectations and the quality of their instruction is bearing out here. Now, hopefully, putting the materials in their hands, the high quality materials, coupled with the skills that they have, hopefully the implementation dip, and I think you have a slide later than this, is decreased. So we see that maybe there is a dip, but maybe it's over a short amount of time.
And the nature of the curriculum is, you know, it will spiral from one year to the next, and we're not there yet. Just similarly to math, you know, teachers have recently shared, like, they're seeing the routines, they're seeing it in the classroom. So we're anticipating a similar trajectory.
But it's, I don't know. In my opinion, it's hard not to be happy with when you see results like that with an SGP of almost, you know, over 60, which is what you want to see, and an increase in percentage of meeting and exceeding. That's what we hope to see every year, year over year over year.
All right.
I guess, and then quickly, then going back to that, I think that's kind of maybe what we want to throw across the top as a highlight, right? Because what do I see as a highlight up at the top? 31% aren't meeting,
right?
Because so that's what my eyes are drawn to.
Yeah.
But you just made the point of, but our meeting grew by so many percentage points. So again, just percentage, right? I looked at it, and that's why at first that was my first question, right? Because that's where my mind and eyes were drawn to. So let's let's keep celebrating the victories, right? The wins, and I know we're going that direction.
This is a snapshot from Open Architects too,
Yeah.
right? And so like maybe also getting them to like when things are good, highlight it for us,
Highlight.
right?
Yeah,
So
exactly.
call
You
it
know,
out.
like, we have work. We still have work to do.
Yeah.
But when I'm sitting here, right? Well, tell me what the gains were, so that way I'm not so focused on 31%. So
yeah.
thank you.
Now I'm going to talk about our high-quality instructional materials update. I'll start with Stacy. So we are in year 2 of Amplify. Students are engaging in blended learning. So I know there's been a lot of talk about and concern about students on Chromebooks all the time. This is a very technically heavy curriculum. There's a very robust platform that allows for a huge amount of differentiation for students. Which teachers like, but we also want to make sure our kids are reading text in front of them. So teachers are engaging in more of a blended learning approach using paper pencil materials, using the student readers. I was at Stacy today and I saw more classes than not reading from the actual student readers and taking tasks offline, which was great. As far as PD goes, Stacy has one department time monthly dedicated to the ELA and reading departments meet together, and teachers meet weekly with their grade level peers to work on collaboration and lesson internalization. So we are more comfortable with the text and content in year 2. The pacing is easier to gauge. Teachers are better able to look for the high leverage questions that have a high depth of knowledge to make the adjustments as necessary so we're not dragging the pacing out. We also are continuing to work on norming on student writing, and that's kind of guided by looking at our needs based on MCAS. We have common assessments now for writing. We're making sure we're bringing samples of student work to department time meetings, making sure that if I say something's a 4, it's the same as Carrie says it's a 4, and just making sure we are all aligned in our grading processes. We are also, DESE, we were part of DESE's Learning Acceleration Network for K-5 last year, and since we were awarded the PRISM grants, we had shifted the support of the LAN network to Stacy now because I'm dedicating a lot of time to K-5, and this will ensure sustainability for the implementation of Amplify. So we have site visits with our TNTP partner to collect additional data, and they are also supporting professional learning. Some GLOws at Stacy Middle School is teachers are working to embed the culturally and linguistically responsive protocols into lessons. I actually saw one of them in action today. It's called Jump in Reading, and it's where a student volunteers to read aloud, and any student at the end of a sentence or the start of a new paragraph can jump in and take over. And you would have thought it was like they were giving away money for whoever was jumping in. Like, the kids were so excited. We had multiple kids jumping in to read, and it actually, like, it was electric in there. It was really great to see, and it allowed the teacher to make sure everyone's participating. And on the heels of it, she followed up with some really, like, deep, thoughtful questions about the text that kids were able to just knock out of the park. So it's nice to see those two things we're doing as a district align and not be at odds with each other. So that was really great. We have recent walkthrough data that demonstrates our lessons are focused on high quality text. Teachers are using the materials. Students are engaging with grade level text. Some grows because Amplify is such a tech-heavy platform. There's issues. We've had some significant issues this year, which has resulted in frustration for teachers, students, myself. We've resolved really the main pressure point, and we'll continue to work to make sure that is not going to happen again. And because of pacing, we're teaching new units. So teachers are still learning new content, teaching new texts, but overall, I'm really pleased with the progress, and I think this is part of what we'll see trickling up to the high school. Kids are ready to tackle grade level, rigorous texts and questions. questions about Stacy? All right.
The only
Well,
comment I would really
yep.
make, I think, when it comes to the Stacy piece, and I'll speak only for myself with this statement, but coming towards budget,
Mhm.
if there's an option for more physical books, I
Mhm.
will always support spending money on physical books.
Yeah.
That is something that I would battle across the board. So if there's an option to get more away from the technical piece,
Yeah.
which is weird coming from somebody who literally has a tablet and some paper in
Yeah.
front of them, I would prefer, obviously, that. So if you need something like that, if that's something that can work into the budget season, please bring it to us, because that is something that I would absolutely support.
Yeah, and that's something we are exploring. Like, we had initially purchased like a class set of the student readers. And grade 7 specifically is trying out like a 1-to-1, because so students can highlight in them and write all over them, which is like, I operate like that. My sticky notes all over the place. So, that's certainly something we're looking at and considering. So I agree.
On that topic, is there a balance with on-screen time versus, on paper time that you're trying to shoot for?
Not a percentage wise, but I think I'm really looking to the teachers to make sure they're meeting the students' needs and keeping them engaged. And obviously, once you get the Chromebook out, the potential for distraction increases exponentially. So, and that's all part of the lesson internalization. Like, okay, we're going to be reading this really dense text, and it's going to be tempting to drift and click on this. So knowing when and what to take offline has been really intentional this year. Now, on to Brookside Memorial in Woodland. We are really about 30 days into our year 1 adoption of expeditionary learning. We ultimately chose to go with the 2025 version, which I will say has been unanimously really well received. There's been a lot of updates to the lesson slides, the embedded supports for our multilingual learners. So, and just the materials themselves are streamlined. There's not 15 manuals to go with one unit. So that's been really great. We started professional development right out of the gate in August at each building, facilitated by myself. We had an early release date on September 17th that was facilitated by Expeditionary Learning. Teachers were very receptive to it. They responded really well to it. We have contractual time. I'm facilitating at least one time per month at each building, and I'm pushing into grade level TCT times all over the place. So it's been really amazing. Teachers are reporting that students are really actively participating in a lot of active academic discussions, knowing that literacy lives on the foundation of language. Expeditionary Learning has a lot of embedded activities and protocols to get students talking to one another, responding to text. I've been working with Carrie, our building admin, and our PRISM partners to make sure the implementation is running smoothly and have a lot of sounding boards. We will have a first round of baseline data. We're doing our first data collection the first week of November to get the data. The data that is collected will span the course of 3 years of our PRISM partnership, so we can keep an eye and be responsive to the needs of our teachers and our students. Just some anecdotal feedback. Our teachers have been giving it 150%. They have been putting their heart and souls into this. It's a very challenging curriculum. There's a lot of points to it. There's a lot of preparation. And our teachers are really giving it their all. So I'm trying to give them grace and be, responsive to their needs. But I don't think any person is as hard on themselves as teachers are. So trying to balance that and be responsive to their own emotional well-being while we're implementing this. So A few great things that teachers have been telling me is that students are seeing themselves in what they're reading. Grade 2 is reading about a bunch of learning across the world and what classrooms look like in different schools. And they were reading about a school in Scotland that was designed for visually impaired students, and all the accommodations and universal designs that were part of the school. And a student, a teacher shared, she gave me a bucket filling moment, that there was a student she has that very rarely participates, has a hard time responding to the text, and immediately said, "This is like what I need." So, you know, that's very powerful. There's also students making connections across ELD, so our multilingual learner students. There's a lot of emphasis on grammar and verbs, and, you know, they're doing a lot of learning about that, and that's directly translating to what our multilingual learner students are learning. Ms. Switzer, who was just here today, our Outstanding Teacher of the Year, shared that her students that are reading Love That Dog are just dying to get their hands on Love That Cat. So it's like love of reading by getting them into a book they love, and you got another one at the ready. So that's been really nice. Like I said, the spiral effect of the curriculum hasn't hit yet. I was just having a conversation with grade 5 about summary writing. They're like, we don't know how, you know, what's it look like in the other grades? We can start to have those conversations so we know what kids are coming in with. And just thinking of all the time I've spent with the staff and professional learning, it really does give us a springboard for focusing on collective efficacy as we have like something common to ground ourselves in. So that's where we're at. K-5. Questions about our adoption there?
Just one, Carol. Do all the assessments come from the program? Like, are they provided with the material?
Yes. So there's assessing speaking, listening, reading, and writing. And we're learning how to, like, assessing speaking with a class of 24 students, and you're trying to assess them individually. Presents some challenges, but it's allowing us to have the student discussions.
Okay.
All right. I just want to share this is from the Opportunity Makers, and these are the 3 things that really help to provide equity for students: belonging, consistency, and coherence. And I think what we're seeing as we embark on this implementation is we're hitting these 3. We're seeing students that feel a sense of belonging in what they're reading. There's consistency and there's coherence. So I just included the module topics by grade level. I think it's really interesting. And I just, having the lens of pre-K to 12, I look at this and I see where it's going to build in future years. The Aiden's presentation tonight about his Eagle Scout proposal made me immediately think of the grade 2 unit, Art in the Community, and the importance of art, and just how we're giving students a springboard and providing a common background knowledge that's going to set them up for future success. There's a lot of really cool topics. You know, grade 1 is immersed in inventions. Kindergarten is learning about toys. They're developmentally appropriate, but equally rigorous. You know, learning about schools across the world, the importance of learning to read. It's really, there's a lot of really cool things that kids are going to enjoy learning about. Here's the dip. Here's the graph.
He's not here.
I know, he's not here. I put it in just for him. So this is kind of what we can expect. This is what we're seeing. The dip will go up. That's our hope. And this is what we're going to be looking for. So as we look at our assessments, including iReady throughout the year, and as we build more familiarity with the assessments embedded with the EL, we'll look at how we are where we are in the dip. But the goal is to reduce the length and depth of the dip. We don't want a deep dip. All right, early literacy K-3. So DESE kind of groups K-3 as branded as early literacy. So that spans Brookside Memorial and Woodland. I think we all are familiar with at this point the early literacy screening regulation, which went into effect in July 2023, which states that all students must be screened at least twice a year with a DESE-approved universal screener. Ours is iReady Reading, and based on the outcomes of the screening, students who fall significantly below grade level have to be notified and given the opportunity to connect with the schools about what they're doing to support students in early literacy. The DESE requirement does require that every single student be screened despite where they're at in their language journey, where they're at in their needs. So it is difficult when we know some students may not be able to be proficient and we still have to send that letter home. So what we're doing is really looking at ways to support all students. So we look at the data, we use iReady, we look at the outcomes, we look at the skills that students are needing. The iReady measures phonics, phonological awareness, comprehension, vocabulary, and high frequency words. So based on where students' needs are, we'll group them for specialized skill instruction. So this could be with the child's classroom teacher, a special educator, an English language teacher, a reading intervention teacher, and we have again partnered with Ignite Reading to primarily support our grade 1 students. I included this data. This is our partnership with 1-8 over the past 2 years was to essentially deliver proof of concept that this is an effective intervention for our students. So 1-8 and Johns Hopkins University partnered to do research and collect it over the 2 years. We partnered with the 1-8 Foundation, which eventually led to DESE's funding of the high dosage literacy tutoring grant. And this is just our 23-24 data to show, I can't even read the percentage myself because it's so tiny, but the amount of impact it has on moving students who are significantly below grade level to proficiency is fairly significant. And we're seeing that, and again, we're looking also at the growth. Students who are coming into first grade with kindergarten grade level skills, we just want to make sure they're growing. The goal is to get them to grade level, but we're always looking at growth. I think one thing, with all the talk about high quality instructional materials, at the end of it is like, we're literally the circle here, part of the bigger circle whose job is to really just support the teachers, supporting the students. I try to use that to drive every professional learning we have to make sure it's meaningful for our teachers, and trying to pivot as needed, get a lot of feedback from teachers to make sure they are feeling that the time is worthwhile, and constantly looking for ways to make sure they're supported. And really the slide I want to leave you with is that, we know materials don't teach students, teachers teach students. I recently attended the Reading League conference where, the science says the thing that has the largest effect size on students is the teacher. So, that's the work. Implementing the materials is one thing, but supporting the teachers in that process is really gonna make the difference. And just as far as what we need to do, what we're working on is connecting with families, like looking at continued literacy events at the K-5 schools, sending home the parent letters for the topics that and texts that students will be encountering at the beginning of each new module for expeditionary learning, sending home the iReady reports, and looking for more opportunities to educate our families and community about the importance of early literacy and how to support students at home. Partnering with the town library, they've been great. They attend a lot of events. We sign a lot of students and families up for library cards at these events. Looking at how we can get some informational sessions for families and caregivers to learn more about supporting literacy at home, and making sure, you know, it's difficult. The letter we send home for the early literacy screening is formatted based on a DESE template they give us, and making sure that we're equipping our teachers and our families with what questions they need to ask if they do contact the teacher, or how can they become more involved. So something, I think that will be the forever. That's never going to reach a benchmark that's satisfactory until every kid is reading at grade level.
Comments or questions?
Just a question, and so I know so much work has gone into this, so thank you for that. Thank you for continuing to push it, because it obviously is so critical. When you see those numbers, there's work that we could do, and obviously we want to do it. I know there was a point in time, Carol, I think sometimes those letters went out unaccompanied, and I think that's a big miss to inform parents. I think that's already been remediated. I just want to maybe confirm that's been remediated.
Sending them home with the parent reports?
Sending them home with nothing, like you would just get the letter. That had occurred in the past. I just want to make sure that's not today happening.
No, and it will be sending out the first round after the January administration, so just making sure that we are.
There should be another communication with it is my only recommendation, because as a parent, I can tell you it's very disheartening to receive that, and without additional communication, so just that we would include something so families know what to do or what the school's already doing or something like that.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah,
Okay,
absolutely.
Thank you. Thanks, Matt.
Just quickly to everybody, refresh my memory, last spring, town meeting article, we obtained money, and that money was for which grade levels?
K-5.
It was K-5, so
Yeah.
that's why I just want to correlate. That's right, and
We
that's what I
already
thought.
had the amplified person 6 to 8, so we
That's what I
only needed
thought,
to do
yeah,
elementary,
okay,
yeah.
just one. So, then back to the budget, do we foresee expanding upon? I know we thought a little bit last year, we had talked about some more, we rolled back the request, I think at town meeting, right, to not accompany.
Expeditionary learning, they have the required texts, and then they have recommended texts.
Okay.
We purchased just the required texts. Based on what I'm seeing this year, that's sufficient, but I think it's something we can revisit. We also have been awarded half the cost of materials via the PRISM grant, so that will offset some of the cost, and we'll be able to give some of the money back to the town.
Okay. Great. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the only other comment I want to make is that you recognized it a couple slides back that that the materials don't do the teaching. We talk so much about high quality materials. We talk about the cost of them. We care about providing all these tools, but we rarely talk about the fact that if you just put a handful of books in some kid's lap and walk away, nothing's going to happen.
Correct.
So I think it's great that you guys are recognizing that the staff are still the ones who have to take this stuff, and they're the ones making the meaningful change and helping kids learn. And we can only buy so many tools,
right?
But they have to be able to turn them into those pieces to help these kids learn. So I think it's great that that you recognize that. And obviously, as Chris was getting to there, if more comes down the line where you decide we need more books or different books or whatever. That comment I made earlier still stands. The more physical books, the better. I mean, I've handed a Kindle to my 5th grader, and she gave it back to me. She wants physical books.
Yeah.
So I will not fight that. Obviously, I think it's a great thing. So, anything else before we move on? All right.
All right.
Thank you for that
Thank
presentation.
you so much.
Thank you.
All right, so we'll go to the report of the school business administrator next. There are 2 items there.
All right, the first report is the Q1 report. We are at the end of quarter one, like 20 days ago, and almost 2 months into the new school year with mostly pleasant weather. So the budget is looking healthy right now with 5.9 million in the balance. In the report itself, on page 2 and page 3, I kind of explained the negatives, and some of them are just, it's explainable itself. But I do want to point out some areas that I'm watching and may need administration's attention and need some actions on. The first is the postage cost. I already noticed a big increase from last year, partially because of the MCAS result. Their new requests required a document with more pages. Enclosures with more pages, and you're talking about like translated letters too. So a half-year envelope can cost us up to $1.70, and USPS a forever stamp will increase too in July. So and we have the dual language lottery confirmation and the result mailed to the families. So I think those are the 2 big jumps from last year. So I asked all the department heads, and we are working on a list of what need to be sent to the parents, like mandatory list. We want to find the balance. Parents need to be notified of important information, but we want to look at the alternative ways to reduce the cost of postage. For example, after the kids having tests and the screening at FRC, they're not returning back. So FRC just mail everything home. But we're thinking if we just inter-office to the schools, and the home teachers can send it home in their backpack. Things like that.
And one thing, can I add one thing, please?
Sure.
This year, I would say 2 weeks before MCAS was supposed to go home, before we were supposed to get the result, DESE informed us they weren't going to send us results, and they were going to open up a portal so that every family could look at the results. The problem was they told us 2 weeks before the thing was coming, so they got a lot of pushback from many districts across the way. So then here they come, here come all these things that we have to mail, and I think it's coming, and I think that the more we can send home digitally, it's going to save us money on the postage side, but I also think that families are going to appreciate it. I also think there should be a way that families could request a paper copy, but I think most folks are going to be okay with digital copies of report cards or iReady results, MCAS results, any of those things.
Absolutely.
Do we have 100 email addresses for the entire population, or would you go through, Craig, and say, okay, these are 40 families don't have email, we're going to send them?
I mean, we do know who we have email addresses for because of the talking points, right? Do I think we have 100%? I don't think we have 100%. I think we know who I think
but
we
you
have
could
most.
use talking points also, right? Like isn't that with your phone number? I don't even know that that's an email, right? You only would need a
some
phone
folks
number.
it's an email, I think.
got it.
Some folks
Okay.
it's a phone number.
Okay.
You certainly could. I don't know if it's I don't know if we could upload everything and then send them through talking points like that. I think somebody would have to individually do it.
Okay.
I
Just
think.
curious.
I'm
Thanks.
not
Yep.
sure though.
Okay.
I'm not sure it's 100% secure.
That
So I
might
don't
be
know
it.
that we
Add
could
that data
send
there.
like
Yep.
something like an MCAS through talking points.
Got it.
I think
which
we
was-
can actually. I
Can
think
we?
we can because
That just came up today.
it did just come up today with like health records
Oh.
and talking points is secure
Oh.
versus like email where it isn't secure. So
You're gonna
school
mix the
results
two.
would be okay.
There you go.
School results would be okay, but sending something like a physical through an email is no, that violates FERPA.
Which is part of the reason Desi was getting so much pushback on
Yeah.
their like new portal, because there was a lot of these types of questions that they
Didn't
weren't
have
able
answers to,
to
yeah.
answer.
Got it. That's great. Do we still, it's been a couple years since, do we still have that portal where parents can log in to look at student activity, right? Like grades and
Yes.
things of that sort?
At
the
sixth
family-
grade.
It's Stacy Up.
Stacy Up.
Yep.
So, and is that a location where you could post
You could, I think you
on
could
there?
do it
Because
that
you
way.
you need a login to get to it.
You could.
So you could send out an email saying that this is where the information resides. You need to log in with a username and password.
You could. The issue, I think, is that we have to put them individually in every kid's account versus like this DESI one, where it's like you're
It's on
gonna
there,
get
so-
you're gonna get information how to get
Yeah.
onto the portal.
Okay.
You get on there.
Yeah.
This we'd have to say, okay, we're gonna take this document and put it into the journal feature, or whatever, the documents feature on in Aspen, and you could go and look at it. But I think everyone has to do it individually, which would be
that's
a
daunting.
lot.
I get it. Yeah.
A lot of time.
Question on transportation.
We're
Obviously,
not
it's
there
something-
yet.
No, oh, you're going to it? All right, you gotta get there. Settle down. All right. I thought you were done on your side. Continue,
We're just
sorry.
on postage. I'll give you time to answer questions. Teaching and instruction, there are two areas. First, the substitute account. So right now we can't see the substitute cost is really heavily like teacher absence related. So it's hard to predict this year. But last year we ended with a big deficit. We budgeted the same amount this year, and last year we spent almost $1 million on substitute cost. So just something we need to watch. And attendance is what we are working on, both student attendance and staff attendance. And also we have a very limited substitute pool. So for that significant increase our substitute cost. Because for example, we pay a regular sub 95 to 110 per day, but if we don't have the substitute in class and we need teachers to cover class, it's 1 hour is the highest is almost 90 an hour. So we can hire 3 subs.
Potentially 5. Right?
Yeah.
It's costing us 5. It's costing us to cover 1 teacher, 5 subs.
Right. So that's a challenge. But our substitute rate is relatively low. At this point, we haven't increased the rate
Couple years.
couple years.
Yeah.
So maybe something we need to look into.
Yep.
Yeah. And the other thing is the teacher's salary. We had a big amount of lane change request this year, and it just step 11, like top teacher alone cost us almost 270,000 increase in the salaries. So it's just something we need to.
And when that's PD driven, because obviously we would have been able to predict the tenure pace, so it's.
Correct.
Yeah.
It's PD driven.
Question on substitute. and
Yes.
I know we probably don't do this, but would it be any benefit to looking at substitutes in kind of in 2 buckets? One bucket is the teacher is truly sick and not and called in sick, and the other is the teacher is out of the classroom for professional development or from some other reasons, right? Just so we can kind of look at, is there a way to help offset that cost and be more predictable? So again, it's one bucket of substitutes, but there could be multiple reasons why the teacher is not in the classroom and why we would need a substitute.
Yeah.
And
So-
would that be beneficial for us to track?
We track it. I think what we don't do right now is a good job of analyzing it, I guess. I think that's probably a next natural step is to analyze all that data. I also think that an increase in sub may although hurt at the front end, over the long range,
Front line.
over the long haul, if we increase, you know, some amount of money, I think it'll actually save us money.
We also had that concept of like another permanent building sub on the budget for last year that didn't go forward. It might be just time to reanalyze the cost.
Yeah.
Or district sub or however it could work.
I think the benefit of having an additional building sub is you have that steady person that's in your school. The problem is whoever that person is, they're already here, right? We're just giving them an added benefit. I think if we increase that rate for the permanent building sub, that might bring in certified teachers too, that want that position. Because right now, there was a time where, you know, we'd have building subs that are certified teachers. We don't have those right now.
No,
We have retired teachers.
daily rate. The daily rate for permanent building sub is the same as the daily sub, which
Right.
is much lower than the long-term subs.
Right.
So maybe we can find some point that balance the needs.
Yeah, do an analysis and increase it all and see what we get. See if we can find a way to maybe, I don't know what the technical term is, so maybe poach some
There you go.
some ones from other districts who want to come to Milford
That works for me.
and so.
That works, yeah.
I'm okay with that.
It's happened to us.
Yeah, yeah. Add that to the budget list.
So that's a budget discussion soon.
Yes.
Okay.
Did you want to talk about that other piece, the last sentence on the instruction piece? Did you talk about that?
No.
Step 11.
Yes, so step 11 has, they're not stepping up, so the
That's the piece
increase
with
is only,
the lane adjustments.
correct.
Yeah, that it was unpredictable for us this year and in the past, I guess.
Okay, transportation. Go ahead, Chris.
Well, I'll ask my questions after you give your
Oh,
overview if you want, but I can ask.
Well, it's a student needs driven.
Yeah, I mean, basically, where I'm looking at, obviously, yeah, we're showing a deficit. You're stating how we're waiting on that circuit breaker. Do we know yet how much that circuit breaker amount is?
Yes.
And do we know when that circuit breaker amount is due to land in the accounts?
The circuit breaker is 990,000, sorry. 990,000. It's, if you look at the summary line, it's the fourth line.
Okay. Where am I at? On the
On the
budget
quarterly report itself.
The
is
budget report or the
narratives.
report with the green? Page 2. Page 2.
And also, if you look at the
Oh,
green sheet,
transportation, all right,
it's at
circuit
the
breaker
bottom.
offset, all right, gotcha.
Yep.
All right. So that number is a known number. I know
It's a known
sometimes circuit
number.
breaker can fluctuate, so that. And then the other question is, have we looked at, where are we at today versus where we were at last year at this time? And are we spending more, spending less, spending the same? Because it seems like.
I'm sure we can do a comparison.
Yeah.
Like the actual spending and the projections throughout the year.
Yeah, I mean,
just
'cause-
based
right,
on
'cause-
students.
Yeah, transportation has always been that bucket that seems to go down a lot faster than we always anticipate,
Mhm.
right? So is this year, are we seeing that same trend this year, that what we expected for costs is increased by 10%, 20%, so where are we now compared to last year? Again, as we just continue to look at that and know that those costs continue to increase, just how do we keep tabs on it?
Yes, I agree. I think we track transportation in a different angle. It's similar to out-of-district tuition. Once a student's in the placement, we know the cost for the whole year.
Yeah.
So we probably just project based on student placement
Okay.
for transportation, because most of the cost goes to out-of-district
District,
transportation.
yep, understood.
And the in-district transportation is a known number.
Correct. Yeah, it's
for Vandalia.
contractual.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And other costs are, like compared to those two big bucket, is relatively minor cost.
Okay.
For example, like bus drivers,
Right.
repairs,
Yeah.
we can track that too.
Yeah, but yeah,
Yeah.
as you stated, it's
Mhm.
that out of district, placement expenditure that we see that is the largest amount of expenditure. But yeah, like I said, in comparison to last year, I think would be a good comparison just to see where we're at.
Yeah, okay, yep. Okay, so, we're not in the winter yet, so the operations maintenance, looks okay now. We just had some, major repairs, on the pumps at the high school this year so far. The first pump system, covering wing B1, B2, and the cafeteria, was on, Carlos' radar, and, he showed me in the summer, and it did need major, attention. And it will cost, somewhere between 30,000 to 45,000. And the second pump repair was emergency, and I had to let Matt know about that, because we didn't know if we have time to get quotes before we have the vendors coming in as the water drove down the wall. But I think Carlos did get 3 quotes.
Okay.
At least they sent 3 emails back to the vendors.
Awesome.
And we do have additional elevator repairs at Stacy. And Carlos is doing a good job spending money on the maintenance and preventional actions on the building.
Can I ask a question about that?
Yeah.
Does operations and maintenance also include like the electric and heating?
Yes, utilities.
So for that piece, I mean, I know rates are scheduled to go up like 15%. Is that like, I mean, how do you feel about that, knowing going into the second half of the budget year? Or really second
Yes,
quarter,
so,
really?
yeah, so the new contract will be in
January.
January, yes.
Yeah, well, I don't know what we budgeted for an increase. I don't know, that's probably wasn't 15% though, right?
I didn't budget for 50%.
No.
Because we negotiated later.
Okay, got it.
After the budget was voted. We'll see.
Okay, thank you.
And yeah, tuition, similar to transportation, is it's based on student needs and compliance. And we do have some behavior reports, and hopefully we can take care of this in district, not to place them out. Any questions?
There are none. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
This was
Thank
really
you.
nice.
Problem.
All right, does that cover all of it?
Yeah, personnel update.
Oh, yeah, just a personnel update there too. Okay, thank you. So we'll move on to the consent agenda. I am going to start by pulling the minutes out because I have a feeling there's going to be some people that will abstain. So we'll start quickly with a motion to approve the minutes from the October 9th, 2025 meeting.
So moved.
Motion by Chris, second by Brendan. All in favor? I will join you to get these through. So I got 4 in favor, opposed, or abstained, I should say. John
Abstained,
and
please.
Megan will abstain from those.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. So I'll run through the rest of the consent agenda, and then I'm going to be a little more specific on the gifts because there are some rather substantial gifts here. So starting with the consent agenda, we will have the approval of the warrant, which is 14 warrants in the amount of $1,294,130.18. There is professional development in the amount of $4,481.50. There is a total of 6 gifts that add up to $73,609.38. And grants that were approved for September and October. There's 10 total. That amount is $2,916,293. I'll look for a motion to approve the consent agenda. Motion by Brendan, second by Derek. All in favor? That's unanimous. Thank you for that. Let me just run through these gifts quick. Being a little more specific, we have a gift from the Community Foundation for Metro West for after-school math tutoring. This total is $32,619. There's $1,000 from RTX Corporation for STEM programming at Woodland. Ben's Challenge for MHS Wellness Campaign, that's $2,950. There's a $15,000 gift from CHNA 6 for summer camp transportation. Whole Foods donated $3,500 for Prevoke High School Garden, and Milford Softball is also donating a shed and concrete pad that will be roughly around the total amount of $18,540 for the softball field as well. So we'll need those signed at the end of the meeting. We'll move on to subcommittee updates. There's quite a few listed, so who wants to go first?
Let's just finish off policy real quick. The only other policy that we discussed but did not vote on, so stemming from last year's change from the vote to get rid of the MCAS as a graduation requirement, we updated our competency determination and graduation requirements. DESE is asking us to go back into those with having a mastery component as well. So that is due by December 31st. The administration is working on getting us some language on that. Unfortunately, DESE is putting this mandate in place without providing a lot of context. So competency could be quite wide-ranging, but the administration team is trying to focus on a really meaningful and impactful way to determine what that is.
Thank you. We have labor and management. They meet.
The other of us went to labor management, so we'll defer to the superintendent who was there with two people, if I recall. You said
on the, I guess the labor side of things, there were, I believe, 2 people there from their side as well. There were the talking points that they brought. There were some issues with heating, or I don't want to say issues, questions about heating, when we were going to turn the heat on. We turned it on this week. You can feel it's rather toasty in here right now. It's a tough, we all know that like I said to them, right now in the fall, it's tough because it's warm during the day, but cold at night, and I don't know, the heating, it's not like heating your house. It's not as easy as like just changing the thermostat. So we worked with Carlos and decided to turn the heat on this week. That was one. They had brought up some challenges that they're having at the K2 level with some student behaviors that they're seeing. We are working with administrators at K2 and also the union, the teachers union on that, and just working together to make sure that all students and staff are safe in our classrooms, and making sure that we have all the protocols in place should students become dysregulated in class. So that's something that was brought up, and I think finally the last thing that they had brought up was some of the meeting time that we have, in that they were looking for some opportunity to have off-agenda meetings, I guess is the best way to say it. So we're pushing a lot of professional development during the day, during contractual time, so everyone gets their prep, but then we also have built in some of our schools common planning time. And they are used to having some common planning time where they can have discussions about students or discussions that aren't necessarily facilitated by an administrator or a professional development provider. And they were looking for some of that time back. So we're working on it as an administrative team to come up with ways to ensure that there's a little bit of a balance where we can continue to have our professional development time and continue to have facilitated meetings, but also being mindful of the need for teachers to have a little bit of unstructured time during that, during those meetings, to have some time for discussion about things that maybe is new business, I guess, is the best way to say it. So those are basically the three things that kind of came up during labor and management.
Excellent. And did budget meet?
We're deferred. We're gonna meet. We're gonna reschedule that.
Got it.
That's supposed to be today.
Facilities?
Facilities met today. My notes are all over the place because we met earlier today, so I have not organized them yet. But, basically went over, Craig or even Matt, correct me if I'm wrong on this. So, yeah, we have a memorial roof assessment that's going to be happening. As you said, the boilers were fired up at Stacy, MHS, and Brookside. As you heard Wednesday, there was the boiler booster pumps needed to be replaced here at MHS, so we talked through that. Also the Woodland, there's a HVAC roof unit that needs to be fixed in the amount of $60,000, and we're looking to do that in our local budget.
It was replaced.
It was replaced,
Yeah.
sorry.
Yeah.
All right, so I can make sure I have that correct. And then as far as the HVAC assessments, that HVAC assessment that we paid for at Stacy, first we're going to go through with National Grid. National Grid does offer a free service, so we'll see how those two compare, right? It could be very generic, and we may have to go through and pay for one that's far more comprehensive like we did at Stacy Middle School. So we'll see how that goes from that standpoint. Let's see, other than that, MHS roof over the gymnasium, that is scheduled to be looked at and worked on from that standpoint. And I think the only other one was Brookside Addition, which is still ongoing. So we still got some retainage that we're holding back. We're finding out exactly what's we believe it's still a sump pump and a plug that need to made up and be properly installed. So again, we're still holding off on that as we go. So
Stacy HVAC.
Oh yes, and obviously, as Meg alluded to, we thank the voters of town meeting for Stacy HVAC, and so we will start looking at that because it will be a summer project. But obviously, procurement of the necessary units and all the materials, we expect to have a good amount of lead time. So we will start with that immediately and move forward with that.
Okay, that's a quick question. As this is a future facility question, Chris, could you just remind me the timing of feasibility? Like where we're at and when we expect
So
it?
as far as when you say feasibility for this facility,
the new
yeah. So right now we brought on our owner's project manager, and so now the next steps for the school building project will be looking at architects. So we'll go through. We will post. They will create the
RFP.
The RFP that will go. That again goes through the. We create it, goes to the MSBA. They approve it, comes back, but then we'll send it out. So I believe that gets sent out end of this month.
It does.
November.
If I'm remembering the timeline right,
Yeah.
there will be no position for a selection until like the end of January or
Yeah.
February.
Yeah. So,
So the
right
selection is truly an architect. That's essentially what you're.
next
is.
phase
Okay.
is truly art. Yeah.
Got
So
it.
if you
Thank
that
you.
bullet point,
That's all right.
architect
Thank
is
you.
the next. So,
Okay.
but sending out all the information
Yep.
to get to that point, to get to the an architectural pick in January timeframe.
Awesome. Thank you. Just need to refresh on that. Thanks.
Nothing else? All right. Well, while we were just talking about that, since we're going to future agenda items, I will be putting something on next meeting's agenda. We, as a school committee, are responsible for appointing one seat at the designer selection panel, which is the group that is going to pick this designer. There's 16 total seats. MSBA fills 13. The town fills 3.
Wow.
So we are responsible for appointing one as a school committee, so we'll discuss that a little further, but that will be a process where they'll take all of the applicants, review, rank, determine whatnot, and then the selection happens from there. So we'll have to work out that. More details on, I think, what the ideal person for that will look like. I'll try to gather that and get it to you guys for next meeting. But we want to get that done because that is due. I believe those nominations or appointments are due to the MSBA within a couple months, but we wanted to get that paperwork in early. So
November, December timeframe.
yeah. So any other future agenda items? No?
We had talked sort of, I think, I don't want to say pre-budget, Matt, I think it was more pre-contract process, connecting with our finance director, just in terms of general planning. That's not an immediate need, I just wanted, and I
Yeah.
apologize, I couldn't access it, just that was still on the list.
It is. I have it on my list.
Okay.
And then we actually, Craig and I and Chris talked about that very briefly today about what the timeline's going to look like going into negotiations. We're probably going to start something as a group in December.
Awesome, thanks.
Right. If we have nothing else, then we can move on to adjourn. We have no executive session, so I just need a motion to adjourn if we're finished. Motion by, who raised their hand?
Brendan.
Megan.
Everybody
Sure.
point at each other.
Sure.
Motion by Megan, second by Brendan. All in favor? Unanimous. Good night. Thank you.